Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I've built up, my sort of basic reactions, and now I'm going to look to improve my gunning a bit. So what I'm going to do is very similar to what I did last time, except I'm not going to include the barrel. Now this means, unfortunately, that unless the board is particularly nice, like this one, anything that's shot out of the left doesn't get included in the loop. So we're going to see some extra methods that we have to use in order to compensate for that. And you just need to be nice and patient. Again, if you make lots of mistakes like I'm doing right now, these are the sort of things, they just go with time. Gunning, like most pulls, it's just practice. The more you do it, the more you can remember. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm using these sort of guiding arrows to get things into my loop. Because definitely the biggest factor that will determine how well you do with this style of gunning is just how fast you can set this loop up. And you have to make sure that you don't break it. Because otherwise pieces leave your loop and it just becomes chaos. I just hit the island there, so fortunately I'm going to have to pause that for a moment. Okay, so here we go again. Alright, so if you just get any boards like this that haven't actually got any loops, just feel free to abandon them. It won't do you any harm. Notice this time I've put the arrow a lot closer to the barrel. The closer you put that, then the faster things are going to go into the loop and the less sort of bouncing around that there's going to be. So when you start out, you're going to want to do this one cannon at a time. But if you want to try and improve, then you can try doing 2 cannons. You just have to really make sure you know what arrows are disappearing. Which brings me on to one of the most important points, is that maintaining this loop is crucial. So if you ever find that, right, I've got to guide some arrows in, and you accidentally break this loop, it's going to be chaos. So say for example, it's not really a very good example on this board because it sort of lends itself to guiding pieces back into the loop. So I'm going to show you that on another board. Okay, so here I've just placed this guiding arrow. So I know that if I place another arrow, I believe it's this one down in the right corner that's going to disappear. So let's see what happens if I try and do something now. Things are all bouncing all over the place, and well, this is just not going well for me right now. So I've now got to spend my time rebuilding this loop and just sort of controlling the chaos that's just happened. So it's very important to make sure that you don't get rid of your vital guiding arrows. So you'll notice that the order I normally do it is, now I'll set up the loop, and then I put down the guiding arrow, but then I go back and I refresh these arrows very quickly because I don't want them to disappear. But sometimes for this one, it doesn't matter if they disappear if there's no pieces going past them. You just got to make sure that you refresh them afterwards. Of course, if you've not got your reactions trained too well, then you won't be able to do that instantly. But it's something to sort of aim for when you start to practice a bit. And again, as you get better, you can start planning ahead. So you can see it there, before I even loaded this cannon, I was like, okay, I've put my arrow there, there's nothing else I needed to do, so I can start thinking about other parts of the board. So it's very important, that you think that one step ahead. So here, I'm not just looking for a powder piece, I'm looking for a powder piece followed by a wad and a cannonball. So the cannon that I choose will be the one that's got this chain of pieces going to it the soonest. And once you start practice, you need to start looking for these things, just sort of scanning ahead. So while I was loading that cannon, my eyes were fixed on that powder piece, because I knew that I had to load something else next, and I wasn't going to be waiting to figure out where the cannonball was. I wanted to see, where was the longest chain of pieces, what's the most I can do in one go. And the answer was that I needed to switch cannons and come over to this one. You'll see this a lot if you watch the freestyle videos. They don't just concentrate on one cannon, they take whatever opportunities are available to them. And that's why the freestyle method generally gets better results. So see here, look, I've had to rate the entire loop to get that cannon. If I use a different style, then I could have been doing something else while I was waiting for that. And that's it. That's how you shorten your loops, and just sort of a few ideas of how to push forwards in the rankings.